in the slower cars.
Yeah, interesting, isn't it? With clear sailing, Greg Moore seems to be able to close in on Paul Tracy. Tracy, of course, greater experience, wonderful through the traffic, but Greg Moore, of course, is no slouch either in that department. He was mighty here last year. The Goodyear tyres last year were definitely superior in race conditions. Greg Moore, however, hung in there with the best of the Goodyear guys. He finished, I think it was 2 laps ahead of the next Firestone finisher, and it was a tremendous effort by Greg Moore. He loves this racetrack. It's a real momentum racetrack. You have to maintain your momentum through the corners. He gets a great run off turns 4 this time, right up alongside Paul Tracy as he pulls alongside the inside into turn 1.
Oh, not quite
this time, Ben.
Not quite. Very, very close to getting through, wasn't he? But Paul Tracy just managed to hold on to the advantage there from Greg Moore. But Tracy now up behind Hiro Matsushita as they come through turns 3 and 4 and on to start-finish straight. And that might give Greg Moore the opportunity to take a run at Tracy once again. Ties the outside as Tracy goes to the inside of Matsushita and really doesn't lose too much time. Matsushita did a good job of keeping out of the way.
Yeah, he got up way up in the grey there. He did a good job, as you say. You get in the marbles there off the line, which is what Hiro did a good job of saving that car. That wasn't his fault at all. He did a good job in getting out of the way of the leaders, and it'll take him a couple of laps now to scrub all that excess rubber off his tyres and get back up to speed. But it was interesting going into that corner. I think Greg Moore seemed to lay back, didn't he? Trying to get himself some room to make a run on Tracy, assuming that Tracy was going to get held up by Hiro, which wasn't the case. Now clear sailing again. Moore is able to close in once more.
So this is a continuing battle. Mauricio Gugelmin still some way back. He's 2.2 seconds behind these two now. But Greg Moore now again beginning to move the car around, looking for the opportunity to get back past Tracy as we get into the second third of this race. On board with Michael Andretti once again, and you can see again Alonso Jr. very, very close ahead, but there hasn't really been any change in this little group. I wonder now if Andretti's beginning to feel his car working better. He's going for the inside into turn 3.
Also in the start-finish line, there goes Greg Moore. He got a toe coming off turn 4, dives down the inside, clear past into turn 1. Great move again by Greg Moore.
Yeah, he's taken the lead, so 2 changes there in one go. Greg Moore takes the lead, and Andretti, did he get past Unser? No, in fact he didn't. So we wait to see as they come around next time. Yes, he did. He is there. You can see he's ahead of Alonso Jr. So 2 changes in the 1 lap there, and Greg Moore is our new race leader once again. He lost out on the first round of pit stops. We've got a little way to go before we get to the second round of pit stops, but Moore now with the advantage and beginning to pull away slightly from the Penske, although he's got some traffic himself to deal with. He's got Max Papis next on the list, and Tracy not being dropped by that much, so once they get back into traffic it could all change. Andretti now though chasing after Patrick Carpentier. Andretti in 6th place, Carpentier in 5th place, and this the position as they go into turn 1. Andretti looking for the way past the other Canadian. The 3 Canadians all going so well in this race at the moment, taking over the kart series, as still Moore and Tracy are still in fact very, very close together up front.
And Gugelmin is closing in. He's only about I don't know, 10, 20 car lengths behind Gugelmin of the 2 leaders, moving up rapidly there in 3rd place. Soon, I think, in a position to be able to challenge Paul Tracy. We're looking out of our booth window here. We see Paul Tracy closing up rapidly on Greg Moore coming into the corner, and 15, 20 car lengths behind. There is Gugelmin just in the corner of the picture, the 2 leaders together as they turned into turn 1.
Max Papis is the car ahead of them once again. The Toyota engine's running much better here this weekend in Milwaukee. They have had much better reliability. I think we've only had one problem, that was for Matsushita in qualifying, which didn't allow him to go out and do his time, but otherwise they all seem to be running. They're all still in the race, and that's a good improvement after a rather dismal showing in the last race at Gateway for Toyota. And again you can see Papis running really quite quick lap times at this point in the race. The 2 leaders are not closing up on him that quickly. He's proving to be a bit of a thorn in their sides. He was earlier on in the race, and he's doing his job as he should be doing. He's got to go flat out. It's up to him to do that, and it's up to the leaders to find a way past. But as you say, Jeremy, this is all giving Gugelmin the opportunity to close up a bit more, and there you can see Gugelmin in the background as Greg Moore squeezes past Papis into turn 1.
Great job, Papis. It's all about momentum this track. Horsepower not nearly so important, and really Papis doing an excellent job there for Archero Wells. Gets out of the way, lets Tracy go through on the inside, and lets the 2 leaders continue that battle. Gugelmin, of course, next in line to pass Max Papis. There again, out of the slipstream of Paul Jasper that time as Greg Moore entered turn 1. They're always passing someone on this racetrack.
It's a busy time out there at the moment, let me tell you, as Moore leads after 93 laps. Tracy second, Gugelmin in third. And just a bit further down, Mark Blundell still running in 11th place. Dario Franchitti holding on to 14th position so far. Welcome back to Milwaukee, and Patrick Carpentier is struggling a little bit with the handling of his car. He's radioed into the pits. They're going to have to make a front wing change when they come in to make the second round of pit stops, and he's lost a position to Michael Andretti. So Andretti now has gone up into 5th position and is very close behind Jimmy Vasser. Let me just tell you, it's still Greg Moore who's leading. We've gone just past half distance. Moore leads, Tracy second, Gugelmin is third, Vasser in 4th place, then Andretti in 5th, Carpentier is in 6th, then Alonso Jr. dropping back a little bit in 7th, Raul Boesel in 8th. Gilles de Ferran, who you ride with at the moment, is in 9th place. Behind him is Roberto Moreno in 10th, and Mark Blundell running well in 11th place. Behind Mark is Scott Pruitt, Bobby Rahal, and Dario Franchitti still holding on to 14th, with Fangio 15th and Alex Zanardi right down in 16th place.
Greg Moore almost got into the back of a slower car. I didn't actually see which one it was. It was right in front of us. There was a huge group of cars all together. Greg Moore had to lift right out of the throttle, coming off the turn. And boy, that was a narrow escape indeed. But he did get away with it. No harm done, no foul. And Moore again now on his own. He's closing up on the whole knot of 4 or 5 slower cars. Oh, there goes Fangio spinning. Fangio spins, takes out Guelta Salas. That was right around the race leader. Moore very lucky to get through. A wheel bounce off the inside over the wall into the spectator fence. That was a narrow escape. I think we're a bit lucky there, folks. But yellow again now, lap 106 we're on. And that was a nasty incident there with Fangio and Guelta Salas. Salas unable to avoid the spinning car of Fangio. There's 2 cars against the wall there in turn 4.
So a nasty looking incident just past our commentary position here, with both of the cars tangled up. The grandstands there on the outside, again getting a very close-up view of what went on, and the safety team very, very quick onto the scene, as it looks as though Fangio rather, has got out of the car, but Guelta Salas still in the car at the moment as the safety team. Let's just see what we could pick up there. As you said, the one car was already spinning. In fact, is already out on the right-hand side of the picture, and Guelta Salas was trying to go wide to avoid the spinning car, but there was just nowhere to go, and he was taken into the wall. Let's take a look from this view. We might be able to see out there, you see them tangled together and whack into the wall, and it was Salas who really took the heavier impact, although it wasn't his accident. He got tangled up in someone else's accident.
Indeed he did, and Greg Moore there, he was lucky to get away with that one. The incident was right around in front of him, and here is there's the spinning Fangio. Salas nowhere to go. Of course, the cars get out of the way by the time Moore is there, but if he'd have been 2 or 3 car lengths closer, that could have been really rather nasty indeed. So a narrow escape there for Greg Moore and several other guys, and the safety team around working there with Guelta Salas, getting him out of the car. The pits are now open, and in come the leaders once more.
So the plus side means the leaders on the lead lap can come into the pits. Greg Moore comes into the pits. This is our second round of stops, and they're going to be hard pushed to make it from this point to the end of the race without stopping again. It would be very tight. Greg Moore a little slow. Oh, and he nearly hits Rahal. Rahal comes in just as Moore tries to come out. He nearly stalled it. Surely he's going to lose time in the pits here. The other end of the pit lane is Paul Tracy. It looks as though he's going to get out in front again. Paul Tracy gets out in front. Greg Moore lost quite a lot of time in that pit stop, and he's lost out to Gugelmin as well by the looks of things. Moore comes out in 3rd place now, so a disastrous stop for the Canadian, who was leading once again when they came into the pits, but once again as they come out of the pits, he's dropped away, and this time not just down to 2nd, he's dropped down to 3rd place as Paul Tracy takes over the lead of the race again. Now, of course, they had the opportunity there, Paul Tracy and the Penske team, to perhaps just amend any of the settings on the car to try and get it to handle better in the second part of the stint. That seems to have been their downfall so far. It runs so well in the first part of the stint, but the second part of the stint just drops away, and that's where Greg Moore has been so strong. Some of the back markers into the pits, including Franchitti, but Tracy gaining from that round of pit stops. Milwaukee mile. Paul Tracy is the race leader after 111 laps, but Unser's out. Let's hear from him.
Sullivan, just before this race started, in order to turn this season around, you had to be able to finish a race. Got to be bitterly disappointing.
I am. I tell you, the guys really worked hard.
the car was pretty good. It was going loose on me, and that's why I was falling back from those guys up in front of me. I couldn't seem to get the balance right, and but what finally knocked me out is the transmission broke again.
Did that happen when you left on that pit stop under the yellow?
It happened when I left on the pit stop, yeah. We've been having a few problems with our clutch, and I pushed the pedal down, the clutch wasn't there, and at the same time I tried to go into first gear, and it just, you know, without a clutch it just tears up the box, and so I had first and second, nothing beyond that.
Thanks, Junior. Bob?
So disappointment once again for Alonso Jr. What a tough season he's having to endure at the moment. It just doesn't seem to be coming together for him at all when it is coming together so well for his teammate. Failed to finish last time out. We're just taking another look at this pit stop of Greg Moore. Now, it didn't go very well. The actual tyre change and refuel went okay, but then he was a little slow trying to get the clutch up himself. Hot clutch, and then of course Bobby Rahal coming in from the background here. Look, bit slow getting away, then had to lock up because Bobby Rahal was pulling in right in front of him. Then finally he was able to get underway, but that dropped him down to third place in the order as they came back out of the pit lane. Tracy is now our leader ahead of Guterman and Moore in third.
Interesting that, of course, the crews, the teams can choose where they pit along the pit lane, and they're given the selection, or they are allowed to pick in order of finish at the previous race. Paul Tracy's team, Penske Racing, Marlboro Team Penske, won the last race. They have the first pick of where they're going to make their pits. Traditionally, they always pit at the far end of the pits. That way, as they come into the pits, they have a clean run down the pit lane, nobody in front of them. They run the speed limit down the pit lane at the maximum speed that's allowed in the pit lane. They make their stop, and then it's 100% full throttle out of there, no traffic around. Greg Moore, of course, stopping at this end, that's the danger that he has, hitting other cars as they come out of the pits.
We've just had a report as well that he did make contact on the nose cone, on the nose wing of his car with Rahal's car. Now, obviously they're not clear if that's done much damage yet, and he probably won't really get a much chance to know until they're up to full speed, but there was definitely contact between the two cars there in the pit lane, even though he tried to lock up. Now, there's the work going on Gualter Salles' car, and obviously there's a great deal of care being taken with the young Brazilian who was involved in that accident with Juan Fangio that set up this yellow flag period, and the car safety team, of course, taking extra caution. They always do. If there's any pain from the driver, if there's any danger, any sort of neck problem, they will always take quite a lot of time getting the driver out of the car, and they'll often put the brace on, even if it may not be strictly necessary. Obviously, it's much more sensible to be safe in this sort of situation, and that's why it's taking a little while to clear up from this yellow flag. And let's hope that Gualter Salles not too badly hurt, but he may be in a fair degree of whiplash in that accident, Jeremy, because he went into the wall pretty fast.
Yeah, he did indeed, and he sort of sandwiched between the wall and another car as well, so you get a sort of a double whammy in effect, and we just have to hope that Gualter is okay there. I think he is out of the car now. I think that we're looking out of our booth here in turn 4, and they appear to put him on a stretcher, and they'll take away and they'll have a good look at him in the infield care centre, and if they need to be, they'll take him off to the hospital for some more detailed analysis down there.
Well, the car safety team really is a pretty major affair, now run by Dr. Steve Olvey, who's the Director of Medical Affairs for the safety team. And as you say, they've got a tremendous facility that actually is a mobile unit, goes to each and every racetrack. It costs them some $1 million to set up that medical centre. It was brand new for last year, and it really is a very major part of the safety for the drivers. Of course, if it's necessary, the drivers are then can be stabilised there and then helicoptered elsewhere. But let's hope that that's not the situation with Gualter. Perhaps they can just get him to the medical centre and then sort out the problems, and we can get the race underway once again. Next week, of course, there's another race on the calendar, and a racetrack with a very different style is Detroit, and the Belle Isle Park for another sort of street circuit race, a very tight street circuit, lots of incident, and last year Michael Andretti came through all of the incident to take the victory. Andretti was on a roll then, having won here at Milwaukee. Let's see if he can do the same in the Swift next weekend at Detroit. We will, of course, have full and live coverage on Eurosport of the Detroit Grand Prix. Back to the action here at Milwaukee, though, as the yellow flag continues to fly for the accident to Fangio and Gualtasales. On board with Michael Andretti, the winner of that race in Detroit last time out, and a look at the summary of the field so far on lap number 117, and you can spot your favourite drivers. You can see that Mark Blundell in 9th place there. They had another fairly good second stop. Meanwhile, Franchitti not quite so successful. He's down in 13th.
Yeah, he was just a lap down. He's just put a lap down just before that incident there with the